Today, we're going to hear from Rick Sippel. Rick is a longtime 35-year veteran of story. Really, his primary contribution was being a crane operator. And that's really a unique view and perspective through the industry and through a company. Really looking forward to hearing Rick's story today in the exit interview. So I know you, but I don't know a lot about you. So where'd you grow up, Rick?
In the country between the town of Shaler and Early.
So northwest Iowa.
Yeah, it was like 14 miles south of Storm Lake.
Okay.
And my dad had a store in the town of Early, and he was also the postmaster of the town of Early.
A store? What did he sell in the store?
It was a Sippel Sundries is what the store was called. And it just, a lot of toys and whatever. Fountain, it had an old fountain, soda fountain, with the stools and all that. So we made drinks and stuff. And that's probably what I would consider my first job, because I would go in and work in the store on Saturdays and stuff. So
that and a postmaster.
Yeah.
My grandpa was a postmaster at a rural route out in southwest Minnesota.
Yeah.
So how many siblings did you have, and where were you in the birth order?
My dad and mom had 13 kids.
Oh, buddy.
And I was number 5.
Okay. So my mom, my grandparents, southwest Minnesota, German Catholics, they just couldn't have kids. They tried and tried and tried. They wanted to have a big family. They couldn't. So they adopted a daughter. And in the subsequent 10 years, they had 12 of their own.
Wow.
There are 3 sets of twins in there. So out of the 13, do you have any sets of twins?
No, but number 3 and me share the same birthday.
Okay. And what day is that?
And July 14th.
Oh, we don't.
She's 3 years older. And she got married like 3 years before I did.
Huh.
I mean, it's sort of weird, but her and me share a lot in common for dates.
So what's the span from oldest to youngest?
21 years, 22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
The youngest one is Scott, and the oldest is Joe, Dr. Joe.
Okay.
And
their birthdays are a day apart.
Yeah. The one's
Well,
was that August?
That tells us a lot about your parents' patterns.
Yeah. Yep.
So is there, do you all still get together as siblings then?
Well, we used to. I mean, when Dad was alive, every Christmas, we would still get together. But like this year, we haven't had a gathering since COVID.
Oh, sure.
And everybody traveled for the funeral, so I didn't think anybody was going to do Christmas this year. So
got it. So if you were to gather, and we can edit all this in or out, but if you were to gather, where would you gather today?
Well, our house has been out of the last gatherings, we've probably done 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
And that's because Dad was real close to where me and my sister lived. So everybody came to us, which we didn't have to travel.
Yeah.
But we got a couple of them in Omaha, one out in Seattle, a couple of them down in Florida, and a couple of them in Chicago. So they're...
Have you seen American Vacation, the movie? Chevy Chase.
That one, yeah.
So you could be Cousin Eddie. You could just travel around and see all your siblings.
Yeah.
Do you have a white belt? Because if you don't, we could get you one.
With white shoes? Yeah.
Wow, that's terrific. Okay, so you're number 5 out of 13. There's a family store and a postmaster. So where'd you go to school then? Was it a country school? Was it in town?
Well, in grade school, we went the Sacred Heart in Early. And then high school, we went up to Storm Lake at St. Mary's and played basketball.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Point guard, big man, what were you?
Oh, I was probably off guard or small forward. But I made first team all conference,
Oh, cool.
and my highest game was 39 points. So
Wow, so you were a scorer.
yeah,
Yeah. My high school basketball coach told me, "Hey, Esposette, I like you. You're short and you're slow." So yeah, that's I was good team support, but yeah, I didn't see the floor very much.
yeah. No, that was fun. Basketball was really fun.
Anything else? You play in the band? You homecoming
I
king?
did a little cross country running,
Okay.
but no music stuff.
Okay. When's the last time you've been on a run?
A run?
Yeah, just like a cross country workout.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's see. It's been quite a while. Right now I walk around my lake. We got a little lake on the neighborhood. Try to walk around it every day, if not every day, but
Sure.
I would run and then walk around that once in a while. But I never liked running.
Yeah.
Even when I was in cross country.
It probably helped your basketball game a little bit.
You had to go out for one of the sport if you wanted to play in basketball.
Oh, really?
So it was like I had to do it.
Huh. I'll be darned.
Yeah.
All right. So you finished high school. Then what'd you do?
Right away, I started working construction, Spencer Construction, and the first job was in the little town of Galva, and that was just west of Shaler.
Okay. So why did you had options probably? So why did you choose construction, and then why that job?
Well, before that, we did. The little town of Shaler has a seed company, so they did a lot of detasseling.
Okay.
So in the summertime, I'd go detasseling, but that wasn't very fun either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a cousin working for this company, and they were looking for more help. So
Okay. So you mentioned Shaler. I think of Jim Voss when I think of Shaler. Do you know Jim?
yeah, we were like maybe 3 miles apart
Okay.
in the country.
Did you guys go to school together at all?
No, because we went to Early, and then he went to Shaler.
Got it.
But I probably seen him during detasseling,
Yeah.
but
So his son Chris could ball. He could play basketball and football. So I bet Jim back in his day probably could have played basketball.
he probably was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what'd you do? General labor? Did you start running a crane like at 18? What'd you do?
Well, at first I was just a general labor.
Yeah.
And that job only lasted, I don't know, even if it went 6 months, I don't know. But then I started another job in Spencer. In March, he put me in a crane then. So about 9 months after I started, the superintendent was a crane operator.
Okay.
So he wanted someone else to do that, so he could sit in the office more.
Yeah. Yeah. So how old were you then?
I was 19. I was
And
March, and my birthday was in July, so I was a little over 19 and a half. But 19-year-old, first thing I did was a clam bucket, and then a drag bucket, and then swing concrete.
I got an inquiry from somebody here in town saying, "Hey, do you have anybody that can run drag bucket?" And I said, "Well, we probably got a guy or two. I would guess Jim Rogers probably could, and you probably could."
Yeah. It was a lot slower, I dug holes that way. It'd be 2 weeks straight of just running a drag bucket, digging a hole, and then your knees hurt like crazy because old cranes are all manual brakes, and you're constantly pushing on the brakes.
Yeah. So what was the first crane you ran, or when you started doing that? What brand? What was it?
The first crane was an Ellis 85 link belt, and I suppose it was like an 18-ton, 20-ton crane. And then after that, I went into a 304 coring. And we had a 305 corings and some 405 corings.
What do all those numbers mean? Were those like model years or
Well,
capacities?
yeah,
or what?
the capacity.
Okay.
They were a little bigger. I think the 405 is like a 25-ton crane, and a 305 is probably a 20-ton crane. Yeah, something like that. But all those cranes had what they call pony engines. You know, it wasn't like it was just one engine to start. You start a little gas engine, and the exhaust would like go through the intake of the big diesel engine to get it warmed up before it would take off. So
Really?
yeah, there was like a compression lever. You undo that and let it spin for a while and get warmed up, and then you push in that compression lever, and then the main engine would start up. So
if we had one of those sitting out in the parking lot right now, could you do something with it? Would you remember how to run it?
well, yeah, probably, yeah. But those cranes didn't have heaters in them either. You froze your butt off.
Oh, I bet. Sitting, too. Okay, so you were at Spencer Construction. You were working on projects. You got in a crane seat early. How long were you there, and what did that career look like there?
Well, let's see. I started in '74, and I came the story in '87. So about 13 years.
Okay.
12 and a half probably, because I think they shut the doors on Christmas Eve was my last day I worked on that job. And, you know, I was probably considered a foreman too. Okay. You know, swing concrete, jump out, finish it. When you got done, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And so who came from Spencer Construction? There were a number of people that came.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Randy Lundstrom.
Okay.
Doyle Hayes. Albert Coyle. Mike Klein. Deddy Johansson. The Glean Boys. And I think there was at least one more. There was another superintendent that came. One guy, he went into the Kaibo, and he was smoking a cigarette, and he was wearing a raincoat, and the gas from the Kaibo, it was a hole in the ground with a little shack on it.
Okay.
The fumes just like,
methane, right?
Yeah, it just went up, and it melted his coat, and his hands got burned really bad. And he worked for Story for a little bit, but can't think. Don Briggs, I think, was his name was.
So I've only heard of Spencer Construction, but I didn't know anything about it. So why did they stop doing business? What do you remember
the two owners were retiring.
Okay.
And some of the other guys with the company started a new company, and it was called Clay County Construction. So Spencer Construction shut down. Okay. And then the other four people out of the office started their own company.
And could have you guys gone to Clay County?
You know, probably could have. The same was Cindy wanted to go back to school.
Okay.
So I told her I would find a job down by Ames. So, and I think Randy started working for Story Construction within a year before that. So I told him, you know, see if he could find me a job down there. So
got it.
So I came down and had an interview with Larry Sperlich.
Okay.
And we went out to a soil till job.
Yep.
Don Paris was there. And,
yep.
And Rob Greenwood was a foreman on the wall crew.
Yep.
So they put me in the crane to see if I really knew how to run the crane. So I swung a form up for him and stuff like that. And then I got hired after that.
I'll be darned. Yeah, I remember touring that job when I was a student at Iowa State.
Okay.
All right. So you mentioned Cindy, who's joining us today. Yeah. So when did she enter the picture?
Let's see. I was a junior.
Yeah.
And she was a freshman.
Yeah.
In high school?
In high school.
Yeah.
And we went on a 15-mile walk around the lake.
Around the lake.
So we walked
Storm
together.
Lake.
April 30th, 1972.
See?
Okay. But who's counting, huh?
Yeah. No, yep.
So obviously you guys ended up getting married. So did that when did that happen? How far out of high school, or was it still?
Well, it was, let's see, we got married in 76. She graduated in 75. So about a year after
Yeah.
she graduated, she went a half year to college.
Okay.
And then,
A half year, so like at Buena Vista somewhere?
No, it was Briarcliff in Sioux City
Okay.
for a semester.
And so where did you, so when you started working at Spencer, did you move around to projects, or did you just live somewhere and then get to and from the sites every day?
when I worked for Spencer, we lived in a trailer court there.
We lived in Spencer for about a year and a half, and then moved up to Spirit Lake for a couple of years, and then back to Spencer. So we
Got
were
it.
in the Spencer Spirit Lake area for about 11 years before we moved down to Ames, the Ames area.
Yep.
Got it. You could get to all the jobs that were going on from there for the most part?
Yeah, there's a few, we worked in Lamar. I even worked out in, what was that, Nebraska. That wasn't,
Wayne.
Wayne, Nebraska.
For a while. So you'd work out of town and be gone all week, so from Monday through Friday. The farthest you probably ever worked was Aberdeen, South Dakota, right?
Yeah, that was a good 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
That was a long drive.
Yeah.
That's where my client come from.
Aberdeen?
We did the job of Aberdeen, and Mike worked for us, for Spencer there, and then he came down and worked with Spencer, and then went to Story after that. So.
Oh, my darn. Okay, so you came to Story. When did, do you remember what day you started?
Like March 15th?
I think it was later in March, but towards the end of March, I don't know if it was 25th or somewhere around there, towards the end of March of 1987.
Got it. So when you came, what job did you start on?
The soil till job was the first one. And then I don't know how long we were out there, 8 months or so. And then after that, we went out to the Ames waste plant when they built that new plant.
And so you've been running a crane ever since you've been here. And then when there wasn't crane work or something like that, you'd fill in and do some other things, but pretty much sitting in a crane seat, right?
Pretty much. I mean, there was what job was it? I mean, when we were out there at the USDA doing the bubble and all that, there for a while I was a foreman.
Yep.
Not running a crane. But,
Yep.
But I was glad to get back in the seat. So.
Yeah. Yep. So you've seen the progression of our equipment. I mean, you've been up close and personal. I remember when we got an 80-ton. That's been a while ago, but you sat in that seat for a long time, didn't you?
The first 80.
Yep.
That was Larry Matthews got that job.
Got it.
Crane. I got the 110.
110. Got it.
Yeah, and that was like in 06 or something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, I probably put on. I think it's got like 14,000 hours on, and I probably done 13,000 of them.
Yep.
On that crane.
Yeah. So the life of a crane operator, there's a couple of things I think of that kind of go along with it. One is if that's your crane, you go where it goes, and sometimes it's close to home, and sometimes it's not. And then secondly, there's risk with being the guy pulling the levers, with operating a crane, and that's got to be somewhat stressful. So talk about what that means and what that meant to you.
I mean, there was a few picks that were very stressful. I think the worst one was probably like in Denison, we were setting a sludge press. I think it like lime, they take lime and add it to something, and then they had a press, and this thing weighed like 70,000 pounds. So I had the 110, and I think we had a 3-part line on it, but it had to go up over a couple stories.
Yep.
And then drop it down inside. And I had it boomed up where the alarm was going off, saying I was getting close to max, and I had the alarm going off saying it was after 90%, the alarm started buzzing saying you're getting close to your limit, and you can't shut them off. So, and I think I held that load for over an hour with all these alarms going off in the cab, and there's no way I could shut them off, And the worst thing, like on a heavy pick, you always worry about a line twisting up on you. Like when a lot of our cables aren't what they call anti-twist cable.
Okay.
You know, and if a load starts spinning on you, and if it just spins at one time, it'll just wrap up tight. I mean, it'll probably have 20 spins on it, and then you can't let your load down, can't pick it up, and you can't boom it down because the load is too heavy. So it's like,
So if it does that, what do you do?
well, right.
Yeah.
Well, one time I think we did that milk factory down by
Allerton.
Ellerton, yeah.
Yep.
And I was picking up a tank, and that did that to me. And we had a lift, so someone went up in the lift and just started unturning the hook to just get the cable untwisted. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you could end up in a big bind if it gets stuck and you can't get to it, and you can't come down. It's like, yeah, you're in big trouble.
So you, I mean, there's a lot of charts and, a lot of determining capacities, boom angles, all of that. So you probably did that by hand for a while, and then how did that process progress with crane technology and through time?
Well, when we first started, it was like, well, if the tracks start bouncing, you're getting close.
Okay.
And in the newer ones, they're actually pretty nice because the computers, like I said, alarms start going off if you get close.
Yep.
So it makes it a lot easier.
Okay. Well, so you mentioned a couple of projects that were memorable, maybe for a pick or, some circumstance like that. But as you think about your career at Story, you participated in a lot of jobs. You've seen as much game film as probably anybody because you would travel between projects. As a superintendent, you were kind of there from start to finish, but as an operator, you'd be in and out more. So what are some memorable jobs for you, and why are they memorable?
I like the parking ramp at Murray Greeley. Mm-hmm. We put the upper half of the third and the fourth and fifth level on that.
Yep.
That was a fun job. Big crane. I actually liked the Cornerstone Church job. Mm-hmm. They brought food to you all the time.
Uh-huh.
Those church members would bring you food all the time.
Yeah.
And it was a fun job. There's like a secret tunnel that goes behind the stage.
Yep.
To back of the audience. That was sort of fun putting that in the whole church thing. We set the last big I-beam and everybody signed their name on it. The whole job to me was a fun job.
It was.
Yep. We set a lot of precasts on. I like setting precasts. There's been a lot. That battery factory job. We set a lot of precasts up there.
We did.
That was a good job.
Yep.
That was probably one of the longest jobs. I think I was on that one for 15 months.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, there was
most jobs don't. For crane operators, don't last that long.
So we poured the foundations there. So you probably swung some concrete and some rebar and some forms there.
Yeah.
And we subcontracted out the steel erection. But did you support the steel or just the precast?
Yeah, we would swing steel for the iron workers and stuff.
Yep.
And then there was a lot of fiberglass tanks we had to put inside the buildings.
Yep.
And those were fun to set. We had a little Broderson crane,
Yep.
I liked that part of the job too.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yep. Cool. All right. So how old are you?
I'm 68.
Okay.
And in July
you got a lot of tread on your tires, man. So what prompted you to say, "Hey, it's time"? It's
cold weather.
Okay.
It's like next week. I don't know if you looked at the forecast.
I did.
-1, -5.
Yeah.
That'll be nice looking out the window.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I told them if they needed me, someone went gone for a week, I'll come back.
Sure.
And help them out or something. But
Well, and you know, it looks like you've got your health. Your wife has your health. So what do you? What's next? What's the way forward look like in retirement?
Well, you know, we've been on a cruise here just in August, and we're going one in February, and then the one next fall. So we're doing more traveling, and maybe I got a pretty good sized telescope. I might stay up later at night and look at stars and
Okay.
planets. So that's why I want to get up at 6:15 in the morning.
Yep.
What's good sized? What is
10-inch Smith Cassegrain, a Meade, computerized one.
10-inch?
10-inch, yeah.
Diamond, yeah.
Yeah, pretty good
Seems
size.
big.
Yeah, it's actually, the telescope was given to my dad when he retired,
Huh.
and he didn't really want to know too much about it, so I took it, and then I would, a lot of times we go to a farm in Canton, Iowa for bonfires and stuff, and then I would take the telescope along, and
Sure.
then the guys would look at it at night and stuff, so.
Well, some of this time too will probably be spent traveling to see your kids. So,
Yep.
who are your kids and where are your kids?
Okay, the oldest one is Jenny,
Okay.
and she's out at New York, works for IBM, and she has two girls,
Okay.
Lily and Corey. And then the middle one is Eileen, and she lives in Littleton,
Yeah, Littleton,
out
Colorado.
by Denver.
Right?
Okay.
And she has one girl, Elliot. Yeah,
Yeah.
Elliot. She's a dancer. So,
Great.
and then Christy, the youngest one, she only lives about a half mile from where we are,
Okay.
and she has 3 kids, Raven and Ricky and Ileana.
Okay. Well, that probably keeps you busy.
Yep. Well, we try to have dinner together with the youngest one and the kids on Sundays, so
Okay.
they come over all the time.
All right. How about other interests like sports interests or
Oh, yeah.
fishing or
She's got season tickets to Iowa State basketball.
the
So we-
men's or women's or both?
Men.
Okay.
So we go to them most of the time. And then I'm really an Iowa fan, but
Okay. House divided. That's fine.
so we watch a lot of sports on TV. Yeah, when the men or women are on, we watch sports.
So you've seen a lot in your time in this industry. You've seen a lot of advances. You've seen a lot of people. You've seen some that have been able to stick with it, enjoyed it, all of that. You've seen some, not so much. What do you have any reflections on that, or any suggestions to young people thinking about a career in this industry? Like, what would you tell them?
Well, I seem to be a lot of problem with young people showing up for work all the time. They got to be dependable,
Yep.
especially if they want to be an operator. The last thing they need is have an operator not show up.
Yeah.
You know, so I always thought that was really important to be dependable. And there's a lot more meetings now than we used to ever have.
Yeah. Yeah. I would guess you would probably know the answer to this question. You were here 35 years. How many sick days did you have?
You know, I fell off a crane a little over a year ago, and I bruised my kidney. And I was going to come back to work maybe Tuesday. I called in, and that was the first time in my life I called in sick. I told him I wasn't going to be able to make it.
While I don't know that about you, that's not a surprise to me. Because, yeah, if the hook's not moving, the job really can be crippled. And so, sure.
Yeah, that was, it was hard to call that day. But I wasn't feeling
They
right.
tell you, oh, it's the first time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's open mic time now. Anything else? Anything else to share and or say? Anything else?
Well, you know, I mean, I enjoyed my job.
It's been a good career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Something tells me, Rick, you don't stray very far from the Hickory Park menu when you go.
Well,
That you kind of have a go-to.
we went
So-
to Olive Garden a couple of days ago.
but when you go to Hickory Park, what do you get?
I usually get the garbage Frank.
Okay.
Sometimes French onion soup.
Okay.
Sometimes,
Yeah, when you're living large.
yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Cindy?
I love their barbecue chicken, so, and I love their macaroni salad.
Terrific. That's it.
Okay.
It's great. I'm so glad you came in. This is terrific. This is really great, and yeah, I'm glad you came too, Cindy. So there you have it. Not only from Rick, but his wife Cindy, who joined him today. They're headed to Hickory Park for lunch, and so this was their warm-up to that. Boy, really something to hear about Rick's journey through the industry, the different kinds of cranes, the different kinds of jobs, the different stresses that go along, and rewards that go along with playing that really, really key part in the industry and really in our company. I've never heard a dirty word said about Rick Sippel here at Story. Really reliable, really dependable. Really great to have him on the team. Wishing he and Cindy all the best as they work into retirement and go to see their grandkids and do some travel. Thanks, Rick.